they're doing an audio test. Can anyone hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to give it probably a few minutes and we'll get started shortly. Hey, Tracy, it's 6:30, so I'll let you take it whenever you're ready and I can watch the waiting room.
Sure, that would be great, Lana. Thank you. So welcome, everyone, and thanks for showing up tonight. I'm Tracy McDermott, the current board chair. Appreciate y'all being here. And, you know, we don't have a lot on our agenda, but I do see Officer Lewis here. Lana, are you okay if she goes first, or did you want to do a community update first?
That's totally fine. We can swap that around, no problem.
Okay. Officer Lewis, if you want to unmic yourself or unmute yourself, sorry, and take it away.
Hey guys, thank you as always for letting me speak at these meetings. I'll be very brief tonight. So we'll start with stats. In precinct 221, we're down overall 21%, and in precinct 222, we're down overall 26%. The highlight that we're still seeing is theft from motor vehicle, and that's now including catalytic converter theft. This is something that we're seeing not only citywide, but statewide. And so what we're doing is we're partnering with dealerships along East Colfax. And when I get those dates and times for that, I will send that out to you guys so you can send it out to all the residents. But what we're doing is we're having our contracted tow company come out. We're inviting community members, business owners, to the events, and basically we're going to hoist up a vehicle. We'll show you guys what a catalytic converter actually looks like, and we'll show you how to tag it and paint it, essentially add a VIN for tracking, and then we'll show you some methods of how to attach it to the vehicle so that it cannot be taken off of the vehicle. And this is part of a new effort that started out of District 5. We're extending it to District 2. They've seen success there. So if anyone's interested, I know that's been a point of concern in the past. That's what we're doing for that. As far as events go, we're in the midst of Denver Days, so we're all over the place. The next event that Denver is hosting in District 2 is the annual school supply drive. So that's going to be on August 14th at 11 a.m. and that'll be in the 1300 block of Xenia, but that's open to all District 2 residents. So if you and your children, or you know someone whose children need school supplies, we'll be handing out 2 different types. We'll be handing out backpacks filled with the little kids and backpacks filled with stuff for the big kids. The other thing I wanted to quickly bring up is the Young Activist Group is a new group in Park Hill. Every Friday, they're going to be doing cleanups. This will include trash, graffiti, and they're going to be forming relationships with not only DPD, but the community. If you'd like to get involved with that, shoot me an email. I'll drop my email in the chat and let me know. And other than that, it looks like we should have my partner, Rodney Sanchez, and our outreach case coordinator, Sarah Andrus, on the call. Rodney specializes in traffic and Sarah does resources for folks in our districts. So if you have any questions for me or for either of them, let me know.
Heidi, thank you. And you said there's kids in the area or in our neighborhood are organizing picking up trash.
Yeah, so it's Park Hill specific, and they're calling themselves the Young Activist Group. And it's a group of kids. Obviously, it's facilitated. The event started within headquarters, so they have an entire plan. But every Friday in August in the afternoon, they'll be in Park Hill doing these cleanups, and obviously officers will be participating as well. And then the last Friday, we're going to have a barbecue with the cops and the Young Activist Group. So if anyone wanted more information or wanted to learn how to get involved, shoot me an email and I can get you connected with their group director, and we can go from there.
Yeah, great. And I know I see Jackie on the call tonight. So Jackie, this will be a great thing for us to connect with Park Hill the Beautiful campaign as well. So thank you, Heidi. Are there any questions for Heidi? No? Okay. So we'll, Heidi, thank you. And we'll see you next month.
Hey, thank you.
All right, Lana.
All right. I will, sorry, hold on a second. There we go. Sorry, I should have done this at the beginning, but I think we've kind of all got this down by now. I'm sure everybody's done hundreds of these Zoom meetings, but you can raise your hand virtually if you want to ask a question. You can certainly type something in the chat. We're monitoring both. So let us know if you have questions, comments, anything like that. And please keep yourself muted unless you're asking a question or presenting. Okay, so we've got our free farm stand going that started in June. We hand out produce mostly on Mondays from 10 to 1. And I say mostly on Mondays is because on Saturday we get a huge delivery, usually around 300 pounds of produce that comes to us from 3 different groups. One is Denver Food Rescue, and that's coming from the farmers market at East High School. We're also getting food from the Montclair Community Garden and also from the Urban Farm. They have a community sharing garden there as well. And they all bring us food every Saturday, and we distribute it on Mondays to anyone that will eat it. So this program is open to anyone and everyone. We also take in food from neighbors. If you've got a garden that's now producing a lot here in August and you've got some extras, feel free to bring them by. Monday mornings are the best time to drop stuff off to us because we can distribute it throughout the week. But yeah, we're happy to take anything you've got, and we'll try and find someone who can take it and use it. The Park Hill Home Tour and Street Fair is back this year in almost its full form. We're still going to have a little bit of a different tour format for the home tour portion of it, just because it still doesn't seem prudent to have roughly 1,000 people walking through individual homes. But we are going to have a home tour that features 6 homes. We're going to have the street fair on the Forest Parkway. That's going to feature all of your favorite things: vendors, food, wine and beer, entertainment activities, all the things we're all used to. And that's slated for Sunday, September 12th. Knock on wood, assuming everything stays well and good. So visit parkhillhometour.org. You can get your Park Hill Home Tour tickets online now. We'll be selling them with our retail partners starting later this month. And also at parkhillhometour.org, you can find all the information about the event, and we hope to see you all there. Our food programs are going strong as always. We're up to 240 unique individuals for the year, over 1,200 visits for the year, and that's the equivalent of roughly 11,000 meals. We're gearing up for the weekend food program for students in the area, so stay tuned for more information on that as the school year ramps up. I've got a list of current needs here, and we do send this out every month in our that same email that you got the meeting agenda on. So if you're ever looking for specifics, if you'd like to donate, please keep an eye on that. You can always give us a call too if you're heading to the store and want to know what we need. Also wanted to mention that a lot of people have dropped off grab and go type food items that we've been able, excuse me, to share with the Safe Outdoor Space Camp at Park Hill United Methodist Church. So thank you for that. I brought them 2 huge boxes and several bags last week of food that can go out to the residents. A quick update on the McAuliffe International Safe Routes to School project. You may or may not be familiar with this. We have talked about this at a couple of our meetings, but basically it's a multimodal safety improvement project along 23rd, 25th, 26th, and Kearney. They're connecting some sidewalks and creating a nice pedestrian crossing island at 23rd and Kearney to make it safer. So the design is complete and they've incorporated feedback from neighbors. And given the conditions in the construction industry right now, and because they want to get quality bids, they're bundling it with another Safe Routes to School project. What this means is that it's going to happen a little later than originally planned. So the construction is slated to begin next summer and complete in fall 2022. So there's an update there for you. The only update that I have on the Park Hill Golf Course, and if anybody else has anything else, feel free to jump in, but the city hired RRC associates to conduct public surveys, one for immediate neighbors and one for anyone that they didn't have to live in the area. And there's a report that you can view on that. We've got that linked from our website. If you go to greaterparkhill.org/resources/PHGC, we've been keeping updates there on everything related to the golf course. And just a reminder, if you're interested in receiving further neighborhood pertinent notices from us, like liquor license applications or zoning applications or notices of public hearings or anything like that, make sure you're on our email list and we send those out monthly. And it includes a lot more than what we cover in this meeting. All right, that's all I've got, but I know that Jackie wanted to mention a few things about the Park Hill the Beautiful campaign. So this may be a good time to do that. So I will roll into that. And Jackie, if you want to unmute yourself and then let me know if you would prefer that I bring up that other document that you sent.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate your letting me do this. Tracy and I had a couple of nice conversations. We've been kind of had to shift around our Park Hill the Beautiful plans originally because of the safe outdoor space coming in. I think most of y'all know that I am recently joined the board as the Greater Park Hill Community Inc. representative from Park Hill United Methodist Church. And so I am your official contact to specifically between now and December for if something should happen that you're concerned about. Obviously, Quika's, I think, on this call too, and many other great people with CBC are there, and you're certainly welcome to let us know that. But I think I wanted to let you know that's the area that we've been covering for the Park Hill the Beautiful concept, doing pickup. I've been making sure the church is taking care of that. So it was kind of our start place. And then the next part is, I should tell you, is that we're looking at doing what now is Area 2, because Area 1 got switched. What was supposed to be Area 1. So go ahead and give me that next slide. And I think briefly, I just wanted y'all to see that sign, because those are the yard signs that we will continue to try to put up. Again, everything kind of had to switch around a little bit from our planned schedule, but here is the next page. First off, I should tell you that if you would like to be a part of the efforts that we're going to do, if you're willing to put a sign up, do anything like that, this is what I did is I set up a web page, a registration page is pretty much what it is, just gives a little bit of information about it. But this is the connection. And actually, I can post this to our chat. That way y'all could copy it. Or if also, Lana, if you could go ahead and post that to our notes when we do this, so that all of you, if you would like to be a part of it, to please, go on there and register. Just to kind of give you an idea, it's several of you guys were helpful and we put up signs when we did the original, what we call the alley cleanup, the big alley cleanup. So when we did that, we started kind of with, hey, here's what we're doing. We're starting to do this, putting it out there. And several of you had me do it. I put your signs out, then I came back around and picked them up. John Bowman helped me at the same time. And the two of, or I should say, John actually kind of more set this up and I tagged onto it, to be fair. And so what I would say is we kind of got into this, and so now I need to kind of give you where we are right now. So that's just kind of explaining that all of this, Tracy approached me about this, gosh, I'm trying to think, was it January, February? And we got kind of moving on it and then we held up. Okay, so here notice what I put here is that the safe area, what I called Area 1, okay, was actually, the 17th Fairfax, just kind of let you know where the boundaries are, because that was the ones that are covered in our good neighbor agreement with Park Hill United Methodist Church. So it made sense to go ahead and do some, what should I say, kind of assessment of how things were going. And we've been picking up trash. They've been doing community things, talking about keeping everything in line. Good news is, as much as we could do, has stayed pretty good. We couldn't stop from people slashing tires across the street. We don't know what that was about. We can't stop people from doing the bottle rockets. We can pick them up afterwards. But other than that, it really has gone very, very well. And I don't know if y'all have seen them out there with their community, or what do they call it, community ambassador vests on when they're out picking stuff up, or Park Hill Church and the Temple Church stuff. So lots of folks from those two groups. Anyway, so here we go to area 2, okay, which is, I'm calling it the 17th C section, because it's Colfax. I know I'm a smart aleck, aren't I? Okay, Colorado, Colfax, Cherry, and 17th. Okay, so that's what it's bounded by. Okay, and so what I wanted to do is I was thinking we were going to go there because it was, interestingly enough, when I dealt with all of Park Hill and surveying everything, there's so many areas that need to be addressed. But that particular one kept coming up in, I'm sorry, I've got a puppy who's winding up on my lap. Okay. Anyway, so what's happened is that was the area that with there was, I think y'all know there were some people camping right by the AutoZone there on Colfax. And there were ones who were camping right by the, what is it? Not a 7-Eleven, but a Conoco that's right there. That's also combined with not a 7-Eleven, but a store right there. There were some sections. So there were some issues around what was happening in a lot of trashing of the bus stops. Not saying that was necessarily the homeless. It was just saying that all those things were happening. And then you continue up Colfax. I'm just talking about Colfax. Then you go to Colorado, and these are edges of what people are seeing as the external part of our neighborhood. And of course, what that's about is the age-old thing of the more beautiful an area is, and it doesn't mean that it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the more neater it is, then the better that, anyway, just people perceive things, the happier it makes people, the more settled we are. And certainly the more, and you can't ignore the fact that it doesn't hurt with the fact that it makes people want to live in your area. And of course, when people feel good, they want to be part of it. So that's why if you come up, Colorado, you'll see that as you head up, of course, we come to the beautiful, wonderful, what do you call, brick area sign that says Park Hill. That has been graffitied and has now been cleaned up. And then there's other things, but it's just, there's no system that we have for making sure that areas are monitored. And especially with graffiti type stuff. I don't know if y'all have seen it much, and there's one on Forest that I've actually called about a couple of times, but there's some graffiti going on, the boxes that they're setting up for whatever that internet. Y'all know what this is. I'm talking about, they're like set up and then those are getting graffitied. Okay. And so everybody just kind of know that that's happening. So we're kind of looking into areas of what can we do. So those are, again, being addressed, but because that Colorado thing as well, there's that corner lot. I think there were some people up maintaining that lot that's right there at the corner of 17th and Colorado, but there's no real method for getting this done. So what we're trying to do is set something up. So ongoing, we have ways to handle stuff. We have people that are just kind of keeping an eye out, a way to kind of just let us know if something's happening, just, so we can keep it up. And of course, my last part on here is to say that PHTB area 3 could be area 4, whatever. Think about what the next one would be, 3, 4. And of course, I'm joking with area 51 because, we have UFOs now, officially. So area 51 got added in there. Okay, that's my smiley face at the end. Okay, so that's just quickly to go over that. I hope this is making a little bit of sense. I want to just go over it pretty quickly so then I can get to the next part, which is what I really need your input on. And not just y'all to sign up on this. This is kids to sign up. I prefer if they're under 18, I would really like their parents to sign up with them. Obviously, if they're teenagers, we can figure out something. It sounds like something cool is going on with the police department, our police officers, and something going on there. So we'll work with them on the young folks. Okay, it sounds like we got something going. So here we go. You'll notice here that what we did is we had made a list, kind of the general idea of general pickup. In other words, going around and checking if there's trash around. I'm sure all of you on one level or another, I would hope when you see some trash on the ground, when you're out for a walk or you're doing something, pick it up and put it somewhere safe, okay? With COVID, you found people were a little more nervous about that, especially when they first thought things were coming off of surfaces. But we need to kind of be aware of that and encourage folks. Sounds like, again, like this group's going to be helping with the police department. That's just wonderful for August. But of course, what happens beyond? We want something kind of set up. So that's general pickup, and then identify the public chronic problem areas. And that is something where if you have something happen, you notice it regularly is getting trashed, i.e. could be because it's a line from the bus station, the bus stop, or it could be just for some reason it gets trashed. It could be if there's a business that's causing a problem, we don't want to be mean to them. We want to help them keep things nice. So those are two of them in the trash. Graffiti, this is just what we kind of came up with. And don't ask me why we have an A and a D on this, because obviously I don't know my alphabet. On graffiti, can we remove and paint ourselves? There's lots of questions around graffiti. And because of things at the city and things being slow, we're not really sure how that's being managed. I did mark, this is specific, of course, to Cherry. This area is the Park Hill sign. How is it being managed? Who's taking care of it? Who's making sure and checking on it? And how do we handle that? Okay. Next part that we discussed was water and then drainage issues. And that was just to give you that, like looking at places where problems have come in with either paving or something else, because that, especially the drainage issues, are a problem, of course, for during this time of year would be West Nile virus, and the mosquitoes increased anyway, but just kind of the nasty smell in the water stands. Okay, so those are just some things. And then the last but not least, and then I put other here for things we were talking about working on. Lana, am I going to move this up? Okay, make sure. Okay, you move it up just a little bit. There you go. Okay, and the other, and then I want everybody to please chime in. Okay, we're looking for a grant to help with supplies for trash pickup. It's one of the things we talked about to try to get that done. So again, every grant situation with anybody with city council, and normally things that are helpful, because there's been such a dry up in funds because of all the COVID, really the pandemic caused this. There's probably not as much, but I think we could also even get that just donated by groups and organizations. So keep that in mind. Second one is to contact the city about beautifying around the Park Hill sign at 17th on a regular basis. That all Park Hill, I'm making jokes. I want to call it the Park Hill ABC, the alley beauty cleanup, the beauty, I don't know what we want to call it, but y'all help me come up with a name right there. We're going to do that every 8 weeks. Okay. And that's John Bowman's kind of his idea that they used to do years ago. The issue really is now is that when you just do one weekend of an alley cleanup and it doesn't work out for a block, then it doesn't happen. And the reality of it is when you do these cleanups, you have extra trash. So it's a really cool idea to do it right before our large trash pickup. And here's the dates for the remainder of the 2021. Okay, so that's it mostly. So I'm just kind of giving you an idea of where we're going with this, and we're hoping to get this off the ground and then have it be something of Park Hill forever. Okay, so that's the goal. And of course, and if y'all don't know, the Park Hill the Beautiful is it grows out of my my award-winning program that I got through Martin Luther King Parade. It's called Get to Clean and Remember in Memphis. And the idea always was to pick certain neighborhoods and go in. I'm specifically, as the chair of that and the one who started this, picked Park Hill because it's my neighborhood, okay? And then as several other people have started working on their projects around the city. And so what we want to do is once we get moving on it, and it sounds to me with everybody with, again, the pandemic, put everything on hold. This whole thing was supposed to launch in 2020, and we just now are getting to it. So here we are. So there we go. So what I need from folks right now, and that's what I should say is probably my ask, would be, number one, if you are interested in helping do this, because what we're going to do is pick different, once we finish the 17C section, then we're going to scoot to a new area. And I would love to know where you would like that next one to be. Everybody, of course, will raise their hand and want their specific where they are or reason, but truly try to think of it like a problem area that you think, we could start with. I'd like to go something more north so that we're really covering all of Park Hill. So think about the areas, how we can prioritize which ones we're going to be doing as we roll it out. Hopefully we'll be able to roll out more than one. And then the other thing is like input on the other areas, and then anything else that we're not thinking of or that you think we should be addressing as specifically at the 17th C section 1 or in general. So there we are.
And Jackie, should they email you directly or do you want them to email me?
You know, Tracy, I think it makes more sense. Tracy, here's my question. Why don't we have them email me and then and what if they yeah, with questions, but then do you want a copy of it? Do y'all want something? Do you want me to just do a report? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I do not need more emails if I were somebody else, but I want to keep everybody informed. Okay. So I definitely, you know, I'm definitely the one you should email to. The question is who else needs to be copied? I think not, am I saying this right? Nam Henderson, I think you're our incoming chair. You might want it. I mean, I'm thinking about, no, he's saying no. Okay. So let me do this. Tracy, what do you think? Do you want, since this is your, and it might be that you'd want it even because it happens to be, by the way, your area, I think. Yeah.
Well,
so
I believe Shane's the lucky individual for that
really
next honor.
Yeah, so Jackie, yes, that's correct. So Jackie, I think if you put your email in the chat, people can shoot you an email if they want to help out. And then I'll follow up with you. How's that?
Yes. Oh, and the other one is if you would like, when you go on and do the registration thing, is say you like when you get on there, I think, look at it, please make it interactive, ask me questions. What I would like to have you do is if you would not mind having a sign put in your yard, I will come by and bring them by and we'll have some other people do it. I'll probably show it in the middle of the night, but or late in the evening, you'll see it the next morning. It's like a elf coming by. But there we go. So I wanted to just say, if you're interested and you'd be willing to do that whenever I would need it, please send me your address because it really works well to do that. And then it looks really cool. And I've got, well, I don't know if you know, I have 50 of them. I don't know if y'all know, I paid for this out of my empathy project stuff that I do. And I just felt we needed to do it. And so that's what I did. Anyway, so I'm going to write down here my email. Okay. It is my name, by the way. Please spell it with the JACQUI. Okay. Spell it correctly and you will get it to me. And so I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. Okay. So anything else that anybody else needed?
No, that's it. Thank you very much, Jackie.
Thank you.
All right, and I think, Lana, we have Chris up next from Long Table about a patio expansion.
We do, yeah. Let me just stop my screen share really quick here. I'm gonna, let me pop back up onto, give me just a second, sorry. I just wanna make sure we're in the right place here. Okay, yes, that's correct. We've got Chris Cunningham here. He is the owner of Long Table Brewhouse. They're looking at doing a patio expansion. The board should have all received, I believe I sent it yesterday, the packet that included some plans and the email with the general ask. So I'll turn it over to you, Chris.
Thanks, Lon. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. And do you want to screen share? Here, I'll stop anyway so that we can see each other's faces, but feel free to share anything that you need to.
Perfect. Let me just do that right now. All right, can y'all see that?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks again, Lon. I appreciate it. Good evening. My name is Chris Cunningham. I'm one of the owners and the president at Long Table Brewhouse at 29th and Fairfax. And it's been a while since we've had an opportunity to correspond with y'all. And thank you so much for the opportunity tonight. Why are we here? So we're respectfully requesting GPHC's endorsement of a patio expansion plans. And why we're asking for this endorsement is because our proposed expanded patio serving area is adjacent to a protected zone, and its proposed distance from that protected zone is actually less than what is required by code. And that, of course, will require a zone variance. And so that, of course, is a public hearing, and we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to correspond with y'all and answer any questions or concerns well in advance, and so we don't have any surprises. So why do we want to expand our outdoor seating? There's really three reasons. The obvious one that's still on everyone's mind, of course, is COVID-19 has increased customer demand for outdoor seating. We often have to turn away customers because we don't have enough outdoor capacity, and we'd like to stop doing that. We'd like to provide additional opportunities for folks to patronize us and not have to sit inside if they don't want to. Secondly, you may remember a time when we were originally going to have a park next door to our property, and the loss of that park next door to us never allowed us to really fully realize our sort of family-centric model, the idea of parents at the brewery and kids at the park. And as such, we tend to have, thankfully, we still have lots and lots of families. That's really sort of a solid base of our fan base. But as such, we have larger parties on the patio than our seating plan originally expected. And so we tend to have reduced capacities when we have lots of families, and we'd like to sort of overcome that if possible. And then lastly, if anyone's ever enjoyed a beer in the spring or winter or fall there at Long Table on our patio, you know how important the southern sun is to us, and the development to the south will block that sun. We've already seen that in their solar studies. And so, this is when we need it the most, is really during those shoulder seasons. And so by expanding our patio, that will help preserve more sun striking our patio, and it'll help improve options for our customers in the shoulder seasons and then during the winter. And let me show you a little bit first of what Long Table looks like now. Oop. Of course that happened. Give me one more time. Am I back? Can you all see the screen again?
Yep, we see it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So I'll just remind you, if you're familiar with Long Table, we have a patio to the east and to the south, and we have an unimproved sort of dirt lot to the southwest and the west side of our building. Our intent is to improve this dirt portion entirely and utilize a portion of that area for seating. Let me give you a little bit more detail here. So as I described, improving this entire area to the back, this is going to be a fully accessible brushed concrete surface. That's sort of the easiest way to maintain maximum accessibility for all of our patrons. There will be a portion that will be closed off, that will be a brewing utility area. We sort of use that now for managing spent grain and barrels and pallets and things of that nature. We would surround the exterior to the north and to the west with an 8-inch thick, 6-foot tall concrete block wall. Now, why are we doing this? This is actually not necessary for our operations, but this is in order for us to be true to the intent of the standoff that's required between the commercial zone and the residential zone, we feel that this is the best practice for helping our neighbors. They're minimizing their impact due to any increase in patron noise from impacting the enjoyment of their property. So this is the tallest wall that the city will allow us to construct. We would actually make it maybe a little taller if we could, but that's sort of a non-starter. And so this, again, the concrete block wall is really sort of best practices for sound absorption. We'll have an emergency exit, but we'll have no actual public access through the alley. And I think this will help manage a number of things. It'll improve security and safety back there, but really most importantly, it's going to minimize any sound transmission, which I think is one of our biggest concerns with impacting our neighbors. With respect to operations, our intent is to operate under our current operating limit, which is determined by our zoning and our use, and that's noon to 10 p.m. During the weekdays, and on weekends it's 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. And if you're a patron of ours, you know that we don't actually stay open this late. This is just what's permitted by code and use. We tend to close quite a bit earlier than that. And then lastly, we're going to maintain our commitment to no amplified music. We don't do that now. We don't have any exterior speakers. We don't have live music outside. The only time we ever do that is during some sort of event, some sort of special permit event. So we've you guys have, the board, you guys should have that full packet, as Lana said. Those drawings will be going into, ideally into review very soon. We've had preliminary reviews. We're really just waiting to hear back. But the ultimate intent is that we're going to get in front of the zone adjustment board and plead our case for being able to do that. So that's all I had. I don't know if Kevin, if you had anything you specifically you wanted to mention with respect to design that you think that the board would find useful. Other than that, I'd be happy to take any questions y'all have.
So Kevin, if you have anything to add, otherwise I've got a few things, but go ahead, Kevin. I see you on.
All right. Well, everyone, I'm Kevin Wiegand. I'm the board member for District 4, which joins the brewery to the north. But I am also the architect who did Long Table. I'm helping Chris with the drawings. The drawings he's showing you are mine. And Chris and I have become friends. So I am not going to be voting on this tonight because it's a conflict of interest. But I just would like to say two things about, talk about Long Table and Chris. Long Table has been open for over 3 years now and really has proven themselves to be a good neighbor. They've become a neighborhood gathering place for all of Park Hill. Sometimes on Saturday and Sunday afternoons, if the weather's nice, there's more kids on that patio than there are adults. As of the 3 years they've been operating, there's not been any any noise complaints filed, nor have the police ever have to been called to their establishment. When I talk to people in the neighborhood, I don't hear any complaints of noise, drunkenness, or any other such related issues that can happen with a place that serves alcohol. The only complaint I hear is that on nice weekends, you can't get a table outside. Long Table is trying to be a good neighbor. They donated to a significant portion of our community. For local schools, Bill Roberts, Palmer, Stedman, the Montessori Academy, and then the, again, Stedman Girl Scout Troop, they've donated to all of those. For our greater Park Hill community, they participated in the garden walk, the park home tour, and they donated beer for the block party, if everyone remembers, which is very good. They've also helped out Bikes Together, Denver's Food Rescue Ride, and Toys for Tots. Long Table, which is Chris and Nate, the manager, and all the staff, I believe they truly make an effort to be good neighbors, and I think they do a really good job of being that good neighborhood, that good neighbor. And then I just want to talk about Chris. Chris is not your typical entrepreneur that comes into a neighborhood to where the number one motivation is profit. Chris is a really good guy, and how I found out what a good guy was one day when we were doing the initial construction of Long Table. Chris and I were inside, and one of the older gentlemen that hangs out in front of the liquor store at the other end of the block was walking by, and Chris says, "That's the guy who was pounding on my window so hard today, I thought he was going to break it." And then Chris runs out of the front door. I'm from Chicago. If I ran out the front door for that, I would be yelling and screaming at that guy. I look out and Chris is quietly talking to this guy and talked to him for about 5 minutes, asking him if he was okay, if there's anything he can do to help him. Chris is one of the nicest people I know. And when he says it is important for him to be a good neighbor and to be part of the community, I can promise you he genuinely means that. Obviously, I'm totally in favor of Long Table expanding because I know Chris and I know the operation. So I just want to give my 2 cents.
Great. Kevin, thanks so much. So Chris, I have a couple of questions. The immediate neighbors to the west of you, have you spoken to them? And if so, what's been their response?
Yes, Tracy, thank you for that question. I have spoken with them. They have raised the exact same concerns that I feel like we've tried to also address. I thought they might have called in, but I don't see them on there. And I told them that I would do my best to sort of communicate their concerns. And their 2 biggest concerns have to do with noise and as you would expect, and privacy. And so, you know, we're trying to address that specifically with that heavy block concrete wall. And I feel like we've done a very good job of integrating their concerns with adjustments in either our operations or our infrastructure to address those concerns. And I think that's reflected in the fact that we've been operating, basically they moved in the same time that we opened up, and we have moved together to address problems. And sometimes problems do come up, and we have a very good relationship and we work really well together.
Chris, you've been a very good neighbor and you've always been very responsive to the community. Do you happen to have any letters of support from them?
And Tracy, this is Keith Class, and I live
Oh,
directly
Keith is here.
behind the brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have been in contact. My wife is not able to join the call. But like Chris said, we bought this property the same time that Chris's operation was getting ready to open. And we moved to the property because we have a love for gardening. We're going to be a part of the garden tour next year.
Thank you.
We have a huge triple lot, and we've spent tens of thousands of dollars improving the property. We get tons and tons and tons of compliments. And our biggest concern is the customers are going to look directly in our backyard. We're not going to have privacy. And despite the thought that this cinder block wall is going to block all this noise, it's actually going to increase. You know, I'm not a sound engineer. My wife's not a sound engineer. So, you know, we'll have to see. It's a real disappointment that the city is difficult with some regards. That was a gorgeous, gorgeous wall that they ripped down. And if Long Table could match that and have an 8-foot gorgeous wall, you know, there aren't 8 foot tall people walking around, right? There would be no visibility directly into our backyard, right? But if the city says 6 feet, there's going to be people, there's not going to be privacy. And my concern, the noise is going to shoot up and there's not going to be privacy.
Okay. And Keith, do you mind? I realize the person's not here and I'm not asking for anybody to speak for anybody. What has been the general consensus amongst your neighbors on the block?
In terms of the patio expansion?
Yes.
They're not aware of it. You know, like Chris said, you know, they do try and be a good neighbor. They are a good member of the community, you know, absolutely. Saturday, we got a wonderful update. Hey, want to keep you informed. There's a meeting coming up. I want your feedback. I want to be able to address things, you know, absolutely. But was there outreach? Was there door knocks on any other properties other than the text that I got? I don't know. You'd have to ask Chris.
Okay, Keith,
Yeah,
thank you.
to answer specifically, Keith, no, you guys were the only ones we've reached out to. And the reason why we did that is really because you are by far the ones that are going to be most potentially impacted if we didn't take those sort of steps. And I can certainly share the calculations that we've done to demonstrate the sound mitigation properties, where we are now as a baseline versus where we would be with increased patronage and a block wall. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. That it will be quieter now, or I'm sorry, it'll be quieter in the future with more people and a block wall than with just the wooden fence and fewer people. We can certainly share those calculations, and I absolutely 100%, Keith, understand and support your concern, and I appreciate you showing up to talk through it. But yeah, we did not reach out to everyone on the block because we feel like with those mitigation steps, the only ones that would potentially be impacted would be you guys.
So Chris, there's a couple of questions in the chat. The first one is, can you explain what a protected zone is? You referenced it at the beginning of the presentation. That's question one. If you don't remember, I'll repeat these to you. Is an 8-foot wall possible? And 3, is there a way to put a trellis, vine, or greenery on top of that wall?
I'll answer those number 2, 3, and 1 in that order. So
Okay.
is an 8-foot wall possible? We were told by the city that's a bigger non-starter than a zoning variance. Now, because they just will not approve it. Now, we understand how these things go with respect to plan reviewers. Kevin will even tell you, we were on the phone with the plan reviewers, and that was essentially the non-starter. We first proposed matching the height of the existing wall adjacent, specifically for that reason, because it's a very tall wall, but they were emphatic about this. I think with the right folks engaged, GPHC and maybe our council person, we may be able to have some traction there, and we'd be happy to entertain that. So 8-foot wall, no, but maybe. The second question, number 3, is could we attach a trellis to the top of that? We very much like that option. That's not something that we can put on a drawing because it would exceed that 6-foot high limitation. So would we do that? Absolutely. Keith and I have talked about that. That's absolutely something we would be happy to do to obfuscate any sort of visual impact. And then the very first question was, what is a protected zone? A protected zone is essentially a zoning area that is adjacent to a commercial zone. So you have a residential zone and a commercial zone adjacent to one another. One would be protected from the other. And so you have enhanced standoffs, enhanced distances required for operation. Commercial to commercial, you don't typically protect one zone from the other, or within commercial, you don't protect one use from another. But because we are adjacent directly to a commercial zone, there are some special rules. And the special rule in this case is that we are required to have our outside eating and drinking areas 50 feet from a protected zone. Right now, we're about 62 feet. It would be reduced to about 9 feet if we got our variance.
Chris, there's another question in the chat is, so how far into the protected zone are you looking to expand to? And I think you just answered it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So the code requires 50 feet, and we'd be likely 41 feet into that 50 feet.
Okay. Jackie, I think you have your hand raised for a question.
Okay. You know what is Chris? Jackie Shumway here. I think you know me from my daughter Josie Brady over at the
of course, Jackie.
Mac, yeah, and Mackenzie. Anyway, listen, Chris, my question twofold. Okay, one is obviously you talked about a trellis on this wall. I mean, to me, saying the concrete wall is going to be up there, I too would be concerned with echo, but also the look. I mean, is it potentially possible to do a mural on the wall in addition, make something to beautify the wall so it's not just cinder block? That would be my first question. But the other one is, you mentioned that you were talking about sun space and more, the fact that you would have more patio with more space. And I'm looking at this and, okay, maybe I'm not looking at it right. So the way to have more sun would be to expand to the south. And this is the protected area you're trying to move out onto. I'm a little confused, and I apologize because my stuff that's coming up on what I was sent is on the sideways. So I'm turning like this and trying to look at it better. But
you bet.
Yeah, could you kind of clear, and what I was almost going to think, Chris, I would feel much better giving ourselves a little more time. I wouldn't even want to vote on this tonight. I would literally say, can we stop in and look, and somebody can show us, when we can look at it and really understand better. This all, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm very, very visual. And maybe, who's our board member who's helping with this? Maybe you, if you could.
It's Kevin Wiegand. I'm the architect. Yeah. I would be more than happy if we want to set up a time and I would walk everyone through.
I'd really like to, and then have a beer.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So we can do it one night because it's still summer, or we can do it maybe early on a weekend. I don't think we want to do it afternoon on a weekend because for exactly why Chris needs more space. The patio is packed. So like I said, a weeknight would be fine. Early on a weekend would also work. If everyone just wants to let me know when they'd want to do it. I can even do a couple if we're having multiple schedule issues.
Sure. Kevin, let me interject something here. So what I would like though, and Keith, this is up to you, is I would like to have the neighbors present at that walkthrough as well, so that the board is hearing from the neighbors too.
Yeah, we'd love to join.
Okay. And Chris, when you were asking for a letter of support from GPHC, when is your hearing?
We do not currently have a date scheduled for a hearing.
Okay, so this
things are pretty backed up. Yeah.
Okay, so this gives us a little bit of time. And Keith, if you wouldn't mind, if you have neighbors who have questions, but Kevin, I would like us to somehow also flyer the neighbors there as well who are impacted.
Yeah, if it's Chris and I can discuss that. Yeah, Chris, please, if you disagree, I think we could go and do all neighbors within, let's say, 3 lots that adjoin the property. So the lots to the north of the property on the other side of 28th, and then the 3 lots starting from 28th going down. So to me, it's 5 different properties that all basically adjoin the brewery, and we can get those. Sure. I mean, and anyone would be welcome, but the people I think we truly need feedback from are the ones who are adjacent to the property.
Can I ask a question? And I'm thinking this, Kevin, I know that there's a requirement when someone is adding on or building their house in their neighborhood that and listen, don't you love this as I'm talking about our SOS camp. Let me tell you how you don't handle it. Okay, is you don't not tell your neighbors. I think, in other words, I would say that in other words, have an awareness out there. I think you'll have more of a buy-in. I am speaking from experience from the way I didn't handle it that way, but I'm just telling you, I think you get the more people that know it. Oh, okay, that's what's happening. And I think what you'll find is I know someone says, oh, they're going to give us too much input, but I know that houses, I think, am I crazy? But everybody I know that builds comes and puts cards out to everybody in the neighborhood, like right around them. Is that just a thing they do because they're nice? I thought it was required, but maybe businesses don't have that same, but it's not a bad idea, is to say, here's what we're doing. And, something like, I just think it's neighborly, period.
That's a very good point. This is Chris again. We're actually way out in advance of what the requirements are. And then that there as part of this adjustment, if there was one, there is a public notice which would precipitate some public notification for sure. So yeah, we're starting the conversation earlier, which is really the intent of this.
Yeah, and Chris, you've always been very good about that, and I really, really do appreciate it. And so the other request I would have on these meetings of informing the board and talking with the neighbors, of seeing it, walking through, talking, if we could have more than one possible available date, because if it's just one, we can't, the likelihood is not everybody's going to be able to be there. And I realize it's time consuming, but that would be appreciated.
Okay. Yeah, we can absolutely. Kevin and I will get together and we'll work something out for sure.
That's fantastic. Yep. Perfect. Thank you. Were there other questions for Chris?
Dan's got his hand up.
Okay. Go ahead and unmute.
Thanks. Thank you. As I already mentioned in the chat, I mean, I'm certainly in support of this. I would even go a step further. I think, as Chris has already spoken to, I mean, they're doing any sort of public notification earlier than required. I would say, sounds like from what I heard, the most potentially impacted neighbors speak to, and I certainly don't want to put words in his mouth. I would actually go a step further and say, not only do I support this proposal, but I would support a request to the city in our letter of support to actually go beyond just the particular request and actually doing a variance to allow a higher wall to address the immediate neighbor's concern. It seems as if the business owner is amenable to that. And if that's sort of the additional step that the immediately impacted resident is looking for, I certainly see no reason not to support that additional push to the city in our letter of support. So don't want to get ahead of everyone else. It sounds like folks want to have a site visit. I was just there a few weeks ago. You know, again, I'd be happy to see those studies that you mentioned, Chris, but I think at least one, if not you, at least one of the business owners is an engineer. So I have, not only you directly, but also working with an architect. I have, full faith in your ability to crunch some numbers on how sound will dissipate. And I'd love to see those, particularly maybe the rest of the board would have some interest in that. But again, just want to throw out there, I think I appreciate you coming to us ahead of time, and I'm fully in support of the request.
And question for Keith, if you feel you're able to answer this, was the 8-foot wall the neighbor, your only request, or were there other concerns? And if an 8-foot wall went up to your satisfaction, are you okay with the expansion?
I mean, that's obviously putting me on the spot in an awkward position, right?
You don't have to answer.
There's a lot of, changing dynamics with all the construction that went up, what's being done right now. From our master bedroom, I see a flashing bar sign. Not from Chris, from the Croc Spot. That's pretty obnoxious. He's got those lights for the brewery, that are way up in the air. There's a lot of light, right? We well realize that, just like Chris, we thought that there was going to be a park there. And then it was kind of a bait and switch. Very frustrating situation, but, not being able to have something, let's say, mocked up, right? Like if there was a mocked up wall and we can see what the elevation is and say, there's a 8-foot cinder block wall that's been filled in with concrete. The sound penetration, like Chris suggests, is going to be better, not worse, right? When they started operations, we walked over there right away and we're like, dude, please walk over and come hang out in our backyard. The noise just funneled from that patio. To Chris's credit, the next day, they're out there and they put up a picket barrier, right? So, that whole expansion being a 9-foot setback and there's a 16-foot alley, I am so skeptical that the noise is going to go down. And also with the elevation, right? Like, I don't know what the elevation is going to be and what the sight lines are going to be. So those are very strong concerns. As I said, if you come by 2890 Elm Street on the weekend, you'll see either myself or my wife out there like 12 hours a day, beautifying the neighborhood, working on the garden, growing beautiful plants. We go crazy on Halloween. We planted a corn maze in a corner of our lot. We're going to have the kids come through and do a corn maze. People love our Halloween, our Christmas decorations. We love the neighborhood. We love the property. And it's heartbreaking to me that, my wife, she couldn't be here, but, she comments to me regularly shit, we're going to have to move, babe. You know, we don't want to move out of the neighborhood. So that's, you know, we'll see.
Keith, would you mind if just sending to me directly your email? I would just like to meet with you further and take a walk through over there with you as well.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Bernadette, I know you had posted in the chat. I know acoustic engineers would support a study of how to attenuate the sound. Block wall will provide privacy, hard parallel surfaces bounce the sound, absorptive services are needed. Do you want to comment or?
Yeah, I can respond to that.
Okay.
The selected material is specifically engineered for the absorption of sound. So it's not like the standard gymnasium concrete block. It's a block with a rough texture on the interior, such that sound does not, in a concentrated way, reflect off of the block. So there's a whole field of study dedicated to the design of these blocks, and the material is out there in a pretty straightforward way. So I'm happy to engage anyone that's interested in taking a look at the work that we've done. It's fairly straightforward. Like I said, this is one of these things that this is why most municipalities utilize this sort of technology to absorb sound, is that it's sort of best practices.
Great, thank you. If there's no other questions, we're gonna jump over to Rita about a dispensary at, I think, 6901 East Colfax. Do I have that right, Rita?
Yeah, that's correct. 6901 is Colfax.
Okay, well, we'll let you take the floor.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys let us speak in front of you. And we're very excited about the opportunity to open dispensary at 6901 East Colfax, where there's a building there that was a Chinese restaurant recently. And we walked blocks around the building and met with a lot of neighbors. And we understood that there were issues with the building and just being close to Colfax. And we're hoping that we're going to be a part of solution. So here's a little bit about us. We Yuma Way companies. We own 5 active licensed dispensaries, 2 cultivation facilities, and first social consumption club. We're opening another dispensary hopefully this month, and a few more in works here in Colorado. We also have dispensaries in Michigan. We awarded license in West Virginia, in California. So we're growing exponentially. What we're well known for is for that social consumption establishment that's 1130 Yuma Court, right next to our 1136 dispensaries that you can see from highway. That was first in the world licensed social consumption establishment. So as soon as we opened it, we were featured in a lot of articles and news. And if you want to read about us, you can just Google, and there's going to be like 30 pages about us. So we create a little pamphlet, and we showed it to the neighbors around, that gives them not just only information about us and our stores, but also our phone numbers and emails. And what we've been telling them, that we would like to hear their issues, their problems. We want it to be a solution to their problems. And if there's any concerns, we would like them to have our personal phone numbers and personal email addresses so we can get them resolved immediately. We have big plans for the building to revamp the building. So it's going to look much nicer. It's not going to have weeds, and it's going to have different color and different vibe. And we are really hoping that that part of the area going to become more of Park Hill feel than part of eastern side of Colfax feel. We would like to bring it more to the western side and to Park Hill feel. That's how we would like also to participate in a lot of activities when we put in dispensary in those neighborhoods that we have our dispensaries, like for example 1136 Yuma is a coffee joint located in Lincoln Park neighborhood. We're on the board of association. We trying to help anywhere we can. We're trying to join your activities, introduce other activities, and be a good neighbor. So we walked streets for the last several days. We're going to continue doing it and continue meeting with neighbors. Not just, we have a petitioning company. We're going to have public hearing on the 23rd, and they doing their job, but we would like to meet neighbors, and we would like to make sure that they have our information and to hear from them and to understand the vibe of the neighborhood. So it also would like to ask you if anybody reaches out to you and if they have any concerns or questions, or would like to express anything, please give them our phone numbers. So we would like to answer them and would like to be a part of community.
Rita, thank you. Are there questions?
I have a couple.
Go ahead, Colette.
So Rita, I live right down the street from where you're going to open the dispensary. So I would be your district representative for Greater Park Hill. And so my one question, I have a couple questions. The first one, is that a social consumption place or is it just a purchase dispensary?
It's dispensary retail site. It's not social consumption. Not
and I have not, the neighbors that I speak to in the immediate area weren't aware of it. So I'm not sure which blocks you've walked, but I would suggest to you and I don't know what your weekend looks like, but there's going to be 2 block parties in the neighborhood on Saturday. One is going to be on Newport between, I believe, 16th and Batavia. And then that's going to have a lot of the neighborhood that is maybe a little bit further west than you need to be. But then there's a block party in the evening between like 4 and 8 on Batavia in between Pontiac and Olive. So, and that's encompassing Poplar Street, Pontiac Street, Oneida, and Olive. So if you have literature that you want to bring, that's probably a perfect place to, I mean, you don't have to stay and chat with people you don't want to, but if you have literature that you want to pass out, that's probably the best way to hit as many people as you would like to in that sort of area, right, or at least to the north of where the dispensary is.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we walked primarily twice that block right next to the dispensary. We spoke to Darren, that's 2 doors down.
Oh, Darren, I know her. Yeah, okay.
Jessica,
we're over 2 now.
yeah, Jessica across the street. We spoke to Tracy. She's a Russian history professor across the street. So we spoke to a few other neighbors. So far, what we hear is that mostly people neutral or in support. There were few people who were concerned, but not necessarily concerned of a dispensary, but just more concerned before they saw us. After they saw us and talked to us, they didn't seem to be as concerned.
Well, it's right, that block right there too is, it's right now, it's just not, it doesn't look, it's going to be good to have a business there because the swim club is closed now. There's just, there's like a whole strip of I think nothing. There's the auto place there. I don't even know if it's still there or not. But well, I didn't mean to insinuate that people were not in support of it. I just talked, but you're not going to be able to hit everybody. But the block party between Batavia and between Pontiac and Olive will have a lot of those neighbors. So if you want to bring any type of material that you have, that might be a great way to just get everybody, informed and, get information to ask questions.
Thank you. Is that going to be a party so that people will have food and what kind of party is it going to be?
The Newport one, I don't know, but I'm organizing the Batavia part. So everybody just brings their own drinks and chairs, and we're going to have a food truck come and we'll have some music, and we just want everybody to get to know each other again because we've had so many new neighbors move in during COVID and we haven't been able to get together. So it's basically just a casual, hanging out in the street and hanging out with your neighbors.
I'm just checking if cookies will be appropriate.
You can, I have no idea how many people are going to come. So, but no, that would probably be a great time to do it. I'm sorry.
We'd be glad to provide product like Chris did but unfortunately state and the city will not allow us.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We'll be much happier party.
Well, Fiction Brewery is giving us coupons, so I don't know if you can do that. You're not ready to open quite yet, but just in case.
Are there other questions? Great, Rita, we do appreciate you both coming here and presenting to us, and please keep us informed, and we'll obviously find out about the hearing, which you said is the 23rd of this month, correct?
23rd of this month.
Okay, great. Any other questions for us?
No, that's it. And just if you hear something, please let them speak to us. We would like to make sure there's no concerns.
Great.
I'll put my my contact information in the chat so that you guys have it in case something comes up.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, Colette.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Colette. So we have open floor now. Any community comments or announcements?
I have a quick question. Going back to the beginning of this meeting, Lana, when you said they were sending out 2 levels of surveys about the golf course, and they said the immediate area, do you have an idea? Is that like so many blocks, a quarter mile? Do you have any idea? If you don't, I haven't been paying attention, so I don't expect anyone else to know. But by any chance, do you happen to know what that was?
They do outline it on there. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can
I
look
think
it
it
up
was
real quick.
less than a mile.
That
Okay.
sounds right.
I'll go look it up.
It was like, I think it was like 0.8 miles.
Of course, I don't have it on here.
No worries, I'll look it up.
That sounds right, though. I think if you go, yeah, if it's linked on our website though, and I'm sure it outlines exactly on that report.
I don't know if Amy, do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, okay, I found it. Within 1 mile of the golf course is the paper survey that was actually mailed directly to those households. The other one was online and was open to the general public.
Okay, cool.
And the paper one ended up
They were the same
going,
questions.
it was initially supposed to be within 1 mile, but then it ended up going within like 0.8 miles. And it didn't go to every address. It just went to the addresses that they had on file. So they went through the company that did the survey went through like a survey or through an address company, basically like a third party that has a bunch of addresses collected from things, I imagine from things like voter registration and stuff like that. So they intended for it to go to as many people within that 0.8 miles as possible, but it didn't go to everybody just because that company didn't have every single address within that area. So just mentioning that just because it was a thing.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Any other announcements? Any board announcements? We do have one. Amy, if you want to unmute yourself again, and forgive me, I'm not recalling your husband's name. Is it Seth?
Oh, yeah. So Alex.
Alex, I was very close. It was
4 letters. Good job.
My goodness. So my apologies.
No, that's okay. Yeah. So we sort of a preview. We don't have the details totally ironed out yet, but Alex is really good at making breakfast burritos. So he said that he wanted to make a bunch of breakfast burritos for the SOS camp. And we are planning on doing that. We're still trying to figure out when exactly we're going to do it. We were shooting for August, but I'm not sure if it's going to work out. It could be possible that we end up pushing it to September. But it's just real basic. We'll make vegetarian friendly, and then, probably bacon breakfast burritos that we'll be able to offer. And we plan to use the same ingredients we use when we make our own. So good, high quality ingredients from local stores like Marzik. That's where we get all of our meat. And then we'll also have like some fruit and coffee set up. So we're going to have like a little breakfast event. And I'll let everybody know when we figure out when exactly that date is. And I'm also planning on doing just some light fundraising. If here and there we can get like $5 from folks to pay for burrito ingredients. We plan to probably make the burritos in the kitchen at the church. So that's just what we're coordinating, is we want to make sure we don't interrupt church operations. So we're trying to find just the right Saturday to pull that off. So we were shooting for the 28th of 1st of August, but I guess there's another big event going on that day already. So stay tuned for requests for breakfast burrito donations. Certainly we're making the burritos for the campers, but if there's, I don't know, I mean, if anyone wants to help distribute them, or, help hang out and check and make sure the coffee station is all stocked up, or the fruit station is all stocked up, or whatever, have a burrito, man. I think it's kind of cool to have breakfast with your neighbors. So we'll definitely get some more info on that. I will say that if we don't get donations, no prob, we'll be able to use the GPHC budget to support that. I just thought that it would be kind of a friendly way to make a direct contribution to campers, for folks who are seeking an opportunity to do that. So definitely more details to come, and they will be delicious burritos.
Amy, thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's a great start to hopefully several events we'll be holding for the camp. So I really appreciate you stepping up and leading the charge on that. It's going to be terrific. So thank you. Are there other announcements, questions? Otherwise, we can vote on approval of the minutes for June. So everybody got the minutes, I am assuming.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second. Devin Wiegand.
Okay. And we weren't there. So if you were not present at the meeting, board members, please don't vote, please abstain. So all in favor of the minutes, if you could give a thumbs up for the count.
Please keep them up because it takes a
Yeah,
minute.
keep
to
them
count.
up.
Okay, we've got Nam made the motion. Kevin has seconded. I have Rick as an I.
Sorry.
Jackie,
Yes, I'm good.
I. Shane, I. Amy, I. Melissa, I've got you. Maria, Kevin. Oh, sorry, I already got you. I'm gonna call out a few names. It's because I didn't get everybody. Tracy.
Abstention, as I wasn't present in June.
Oh, good call. Heather, I think you were not present either, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Hey,
Lisa,
Lana,
yeah.
it's Sandy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't put my thumb up, but I'm good with it. So
Okay, thanks, Thanks, Sandy.
Thanks. Sorry,
Sandy. Okay, I think I missed a bunch, or there was a lot of people missing last time. So.
Oh, I abstained. I was missing also.
Thank you, Lisa. You're muted.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
You're abstaining. Okay, and Jim, I think you were not there either, right?
No, I was not there, so I'll abstain.
Okay, Ken. Okay, Ryan, I see your hand up, so that means you're an I guess. Bernadette, you were not here either, I don't think, right?
Correct.
Okay, and John was here, but he's not now. So I think that's everybody. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abstentions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ayes. Any nays? No, because I called everybody's name. Okay. That was an easier way to do it, I think.
Perfect. Sandy, if you're on, did you do the minutes from last time? Yes. Okay.
Well, you did an awesome job. Thank you. And
Very
thank you,
thorough.
Bernadette, for doing it all those other times. I really appreciate when people will take on those roles.
Yeah, once you volunteer to do it, you realize it's not fun.
Is there anything else this evening?
No, the only thing I would add in, Tracy, is I don't think I said well enough to say to everybody, Tracy represented us so well on the appeals calls. I don't know if anybody else got to hear it, but it was so good. And even at the affordable housing task that I attend, okay, they actually brought up how well-spoken people were, what much we had done, the good neighbor agreement. I mean, there was just the whole committee was like all over you guys and saying how great you were, including Pastor Nathan, thanking very much for what we've done. Because I think because we stepped up and we're just super and it's not even so much supportive, it's just definitive, and we clarified things so that all the bases were covered. And anyway, it really helped a lot. And I think a lot of people, learned things from this in my church. And I just wanted to tell you guys, thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Anyone else this evening?
Yeah, Tracy.
Go ahead, Shane.
Tracy, yeah, I just first wanted to say thank you to you too for all your hard work on this. And I know it's been a lot of work. But I also wanted to congratulate the Park Hill News on their story about the park across Fairfax that broke it up, and even Axio picked up the story a little bit. So Kara should get, a little bit. That was a big story she broke this just last week, and really that paper out punches its weight tremendously. So
Agreed.
I just wanted to say that. That's all I had.
Thank you, Shane.
Shane actually reminds me, sorry, of just one super quick last thing, because he made me think of the Albion House. And so we'd already updated last time that we had a savior come in who's going to save the house. And it was cool because I was over there the other day down by the corner store, and Alex and I ran into him, and he took us on a tour of everything that he's going to do and the shape that the house is in. And the house is in, it's been used in all kinds of different crazy ways for a long time. So it's there's a ton of work to be done on it. But I also just wanted to give a heads up, because when I was talking to Sandy about this, she was surprised by it. There was an addition of a porch, the covered porch that served as the restaurant space on the house. And at the time that we took the tour anyway, he plans on taking that back off. So that whole part will be removed. So that'll be kind of like, whoa, big change. But you can tell if you look at the house, it's not original to the house. So it doesn't impact the historic nature of it, because it was not a historic characteristic of the original home. And he mentioned too that he may want to try to make some money by putting in some units where once he clears out some space there. So it's possible we could see like maybe 3, but small like townhome style units. I just wanted to share that because I thought it was interesting. I'm sure that we'll hear way more about that as time goes on. He'll have to do zoning and stuff and everything like that. But as we were going through the house and he was, showing us everything he's going to do, the house itself, he's going to make a huge effort to make everything as original as possible, which will be a huge challenge because it's been modified so much through the years. So that was just cool. We even went in the basement, even though I didn't really want to go down there because it's kind of scary and it's a dirt floor. But anyway, just wanted to update on that. The guy who bought the house, Steve, I think his name is, yes, Steve Davis. He was a really cool, welcoming guy. So just quick update on a little neighborhood thing.
I will give you a little bit more. They're actually planning to maybe send something to us for the next meeting. I have no control over that. Yeah, the intention was that actual addition that you're talking about was only built in 2004. It's actually a very recent addition. It's not historic at all. And that was always the plan with Historic Denver. They are also preparing an application to landmark the original part of the house, so it will be protected at the time. But there's possible in September, but I don't know. He wants to move as fast as he can, but I don't think he quite understands that the city isn't moving as fast as it used to right now. So we'll see if we actually have something in September or not. But I don't know how many units. That's the first time I've heard 3 units. I just knew that he was going to divide the north part of the lot and try to make some money on it. So that's all I have on it.
Okay.
I should just tell you guys, I used to go there when it was Kate's, and Kate was on our board for years. She was the representative for the area. Do you remember this? What it was Kate's before? And her daughter was one of my students at Metro, but I can just tell you that, yeah, there's been a lot of changes there. I've been in it when it was different. So I'm excited to hear that we're not tearing it down. So yay. Yeah.
And just one other thing this evening. Kuika, I see you are on the call. I just wanted to, if you're still here, you may have just dropped off. I want to introduce Kuika. She is a representative from the SOS camp. Kuika, you are still here.
Yes, I am.
Just want to introduce yourself and just update the community on how things are going would be great. And I promise we'll end the meeting after this.
Absolutely. Let me get on screen so you guys can see me. Oh, you might not be able to that well.
We can see you, Kuika.
All right. Hi, I'm Kuika Montoya. I'm the Outreach and Wellness Program Manager with Colorado Village Collaborative, and I am pretty much the on-site manager for the Park Hill SOS, and I do high-level operations support for the Regis SOS as well. I know there have been a lot of questions about, you know, the slow move-in process, so I would like to do just a quick update on that. We have only 8 tents remaining, so we have about 26 people. We're really lacking in couples right now, so as you guys are all aware, we have the background check process for this particular location as part of our Good Neighbor Agreement. And unfortunately, it's either one of the couple or the other of the couple has something that doesn't pass on the background. So I just extended my first invitation for a couple today. So hopefully we'll start serving some more couples. We have invitations out to find folks for the last 8 tents. So depending on how many couples that we get, will kind of depend on what our total number of served at that particular location is. So we have 33 tents up to 40 people, which includes couples. And so right now we're at a lot of singles. So we're still trying to get people with pet owners and couples as part of the gaps of service that we are trying to serve. Things are going well. I just wanted to tell you the residents absolutely love the neighborhood. So thank you for sharing part of the greenery with folks that typically don't have that. It's just been an awesome way. We've got regular volunteers. We have a couple of East High schoolers that volunteer. I think Anya writes for Park Hill or Greater Park Hill News sometimes. So Anya and her brother Leo both are regular faces over there. And we just really appreciate the opportunity, even with all the uphill battles that we've experienced to date. It still is a great experience overall. So I want you guys to know that we appreciate you and the hard work that you have given this project, and it does not go unseen.
Kuika, thank you. And I appreciate you being here tonight. And if you haven't at least gone by the camp, please do. I see the beautiful planters are out front and looking for us to do some cool things over the fall and the holiday seasons for the Camp Kuika. So continue our collaboration and thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, if somebody has something else, please chime in right now. Otherwise, we're gonna call it an evening, and please, please, please sign up to help with the home tour, and look forward to seeing you all next month or in the neighborhood. All right, take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.